All right, today's subject is about serenity. What is serenity? I Googled the opposites because serenity is something that we all want. We all want inner peace, right? We all want to be in that state where there's never any stress whatsoever. So, according to Google, uh, hi Maria, hi, good morning. So, according to Google, serenity is the opposite of anxiety, of agitation, and disruption. So, let's talk about this for a moment, and then I will tell you in which ways we can, because this is a 3-day live launch. Today is going to be about knowledge. Today is going to be about knowledge, and tomorrow will be about love, and about healing in essence. So, and then you will have a day with visualizations and meditation. Hi, Susan. Hi, I can see you. Hi. So, let me tell you about anxiety. Anxiety is something that we all think that we will have to live with. When we have 3 crises in our lives, right? We have 3 major crises. The first crisis, existential crisis, around the age of 25. This is when whatever we have been told by our parents, by society, by our siblings, by what we think is right, that's where everything sort of crashes down, because we have to find really who we are and what we want to do with our lives. So there comes a point of crisis at the age of 25, and I think that is the worst crisis, because that's when all the paranoias, all the fears, everything, if you're imaginative, all the aliens, sharks, abductions, conspiracies, everything crashes down at that time. All the fears that you will never have a family, you will never marry, you will never, if these are your fears, right? Because some people don't have these fears. I never had this kind of fears of not being a mother. But some people have these fears, right? Depending on what you want, things may really go in crisis around the age of 25. That is because we have, nature has all this compounded stress, pressed, that it has to react to, because society is pushing us to excel, and society is pushing us to excel in the way that it thinks is right, but our soul knows best. So what we need to do is to get to know ourselves very well. Now, there is a second crisis around the age of 50. That is another crisis where, at the age of 20, I had young girls ask me, will I live to be 50? Will I live? I don't know why people have this anxiety around the age of 20, and this uncertainty. Perhaps because of all these things they see in the news, But yeah, probably you will live. And what happens then, you get to the next crisis around the age of 50. And at the age of 50, the crisis, which is the midlife crisis, is really an interesting one, because this is when you have worked, you have created, you have, done things, and you realize that perhaps everything you have done was wrong. Or perhaps you would like to have done things in a totally different way, or that you're working for money and you're not happy, or that you did get your home and your husband and your children, but there is no creativity and you're bored, and you're tired and stressed. This is what happens around the age of 50. So this happens so that we change. This is 25, 50, and later in early 60s is a good time to make major changes in our lives. In our early 60s, we have a third crisis. I'm sure we may have more crises, but I know about these 3 major crises that the teachers tell us that exist in the life of every human being. So if you don't think you have ever had a crisis, perhaps you have repressed it a lot. Or if you think your whole life is in crisis, then try to remember when you were younger, how hard it was sometimes, and how full of fear or anxiety you were. So there comes a time, perhaps after the first crisis or the second, when we can make a choice to live for ourselves, for happiness, for joy, for love, or to live for satisfying the others. And living for ourselves means that we have to have a goal that will help humanity somehow, that will make our hearts expand. If our only goal is to make money, then, we're never going to be happy. We have to do something. So we have to do something usually that we lack. For example, hi Marilise, hi Evita, I see you, hi Evita, there. Hi Marilise, good to see you there. All right, and hi Apostolos, hi. Thank you for joining. So, what was I saying? Yes, so, we have to do something major to change our lives. And we have to do it, and we have to go in a direction. If we want serenity and we want peace and happiness, lasting happiness, we have to acquire a philosophy, a way of thinking, and an ideology that are going to be in alignment with our soul. If we are in alignment with our soul, if we have no conscience bothering us and leaving us sleepless at night, if we have no excessive guilt, we have not so many negative emotions, not so much anxiety. And what we're doing is opening up our hearts and serving others, is helping others. If someone, for example, is a teacher or a doctor, a good doctor, a good teacher, a good whatever professional, or a good business person, and is ethical in their business, then you're more or less in alignment with your soul. But if, for example, you have been working and you have been making money, and money is not anymore an issue in your life. You have money. You have, somehow, perhaps from your family, perhaps from a pension, perhaps from a property then you have to consider, should I devote my time, my precious time, which is irretrievable, should I devote it doing what I'm doing, or should I turn to a more spiritual direction? And when I say spiritual, I don't mean only meditation and prayer. Spirituality is not only meditation, as my teacher, Master Chokuksui, says. Spirituality is a way of life. For example, you may find that your purpose is to help others to be happy, like some of the present. I don't know if Marilise is training to be a happiness coach, I think. So some people, they like to be happy, they like to laugh. So they're saying, I love to laugh, I love to be happy, so I'm going to help other people be happy as well. The other day, I attended a laughing seminar in which we were shown that if you laugh from your abdomen for 8 minutes, every morning, then your aura purifies, and it is, if you do this for 90 days, then depression goes. I didn't do it for 90 days, but once was really good. I loved it. So if you have depression, just laugh for 8 minutes every morning, very loud. You just explain to your spouses, your friends, your neighbors, your cats and dogs that you're going to laugh now, no matter what. So about the light aspect, knowledge aspect, how can we be in alignment with ourselves if we do not know ourselves? We need to know ourselves deeply. And I will tell you now a few things about about what there is to know. Because it's important to know what is the scope of knowledge. Many people think they know themselves very well. Many people, they would say that, oh, come on, since the age of 35 or 40, I have known myself. I know who I am. Well, we usually know who we are according to the mirror that society and others turn toward us. Have we really seen who we are? Are we really kind and generous, or is there an ulterior motive? Are we really naive, or is it that we don't want to see certain things? So, okay, there's this psychological aspect, but this psychological aspect has been pinpointed by Pythagoras through Arithmosophy in so many amazing methods that are directly showing you all about your character, like the Pythagoras arrows, for example. In one sentence, you have all the merit and all the problems of an incarnation. And you can really know someone through that. So, what we can know about ourselves, we can know our life path. We can know what we are here to do. That's our life path, you know. And every person, you can say that there are 9 numbers. So, you know, 1/9 of humanity is the same purpose? No. But our life path shows the general qualities and potencies of our own personal life path. And we're going to find the way in which to make that happen, whether we know our life path or not. This has been tested on thousands and millions of people in reality. It's been tested on so many people by me, but also by other arithmosophers all through the eons, ages, you know. So, throughout centuries actually. So it works, as numbers can accurately calculate distances or temperature or weight. They can calculate character. They can see events. Of course, if the events are, for example, on a personal year 8, it's a good year to sell or buy property. To sell or buy, that is a huge gamut of events. You may be buying a property which was the house of your dreams, or you may be buying a property that you never wanted to buy because someone else is making you buy it. You may be selling a property that is your last property to feed your children, or you may be selling your property and making a lot of money, great profit. And the reasons why you do it are, you know, they vary. And perhaps you will not buy or sell a property in the personal year 8. But if you do want to buy or sell a property, that is the year where it will happen, you know. And that is the year when it will happen, like almost certainly. I say almost because there is also the factor of karma. You know, we may be doing everything properly to have that property bought or sold, and at the last moment, you know, we do something wrong and we lose the karma. This exists. I have tasted the, you know, the consequences of karma many times by making mistakes, because this is how we are guided. And this is true, you know. You can see how your life is going, what happens when you're being good, and you know when you're being good, and what happens when you're being not good. You know. I don't want to say bad because it's ridiculous to say bad. Anyway, so we're too strict on ourselves usually. So what else can we know? We can know our soul's tendencies. We can know our personality. We can know, because the personality is the vehicle that we use. And if we complete our personality, then we can place it in the service of the soul. Then we can know our destiny. That means the place where opportunity will be found, right? Like, for example, if your destiny is 1, like mine, you're destined to have a business. You know, you're destined to be creating something, a foundation, something, to be a leader somehow, you know. Even if your life path is a 5, which is a very, very, you know, life-loving and traveling and changing all the time, but number. But number 1, for example, is that. Then you can know what you will become when you mature. I call it the attainment number or maturity number. This is what the forces that come into play at the later age, around the age of 49. Then another thing you can know through Arithmosophy are the forces that will come at play, the positive forces that will come at play at each of your main four cycles of your life. And you know, that is so useful because, for example, what the forces that are sent to us are what we need to, what we have, our circumstances. For example, we have a number 6 at childhood. That means nurturing parents or loving home environment, etc. And we have a challenge number. We can also see our challenges. The challenge number 1. It means, one of the two parents may be tyrannical, or we may have a tyrannical teacher at school that is going to make our lives hell, or that we need to cultivate our leadership qualities. So we can see, and then in the next cycle, it's 1 are positive. We've conquered it, we've done it. And in that cycle, we have to cultivate, for example, our 9, our humanitarian aspect. And then we become humanitarian. You can see the life of a human being. But, to see the puzzle of your life, you have to understand all the numbers and just see it all together blend, and knowing yourself, of course. So, of course, I can show this to you, but you are going to be the one. I can show you what each thing means, and you will be the one making the connections in your mind, right? It's going to click. And then what else can we know about ourselves? We can know the personal year we're in, because, there are 9 years. Each year has a personal number. And each year has a different quality. Like on a year 1, everything changes, it's new, etc. On a year 2, in the previous live launch, I did something about the personal year, I think, and it's in the YouTube videos of the previous live launch. So I just want to talk generally about what we can know, because we can know so much about ourselves that we are not aware of. We can know our Pythagoras arrows, which show our karma, which shows where we will be tested. For example, the Pythagoras arrow 159 is a determination arrow. Many masters have it. Many leading masters of pranic healing, who are very determined people, very strong-willed people. And many top students, who are organizers and teachers, etc., have it. But what is the drawback, which the masters have, they have overcome, because they're masters of their will, right? Of energy and of their own willpower. But most people, if they're 159, which is a very determined number, the problem is that they're so determined that they cannot let go of a project. Or if they are in a relationship, if they are, left, someone leaves them, they cannot get unglued from that person. They have to let go. They have to learn to let go. So everything has its positives and negatives. Like determination is like, I'm going to make it no matter what. But then if for some reason, this is not the right project for you, you're not going to make it. So you still want to push that project. So determination, excessive determination, can be a big problem. Now, what else can we know about ourselves? Let me think. We can know where we are as humanity, right? Because there are megacycles. There are megacycles that have these triads potencies, and every year has a different theme. And we have to know where we stand within humanity, where we are within humanity. Are we in a year? Because the Tibetan master, he says that if we are in the flow with humanity, with the forces that are coming from the spiritual hierarchy of light for humanity, then we're never going to be disappointed, and we will be in the flow. So in order to be in the flow, it is good if we see ourselves very well first. In order to be healthy, in order to be well, we need to be in alignment with our higher soul, which means we need to really know ourselves. And of course, I have never met actually anyone who learned about their arithmosophy and they did not resonate deeply with what they learned. It seemed to them like too obvious. Most people are like, this is not really, this is so obvious. Yeah, it's obvious because this is who you are. If I had told you a totally different number, you would have said, no way, this is really not me. Most people resonate deeply. Actually, I've only met one person not resonating, and she had too many ones, which is very, person who's not very open and receptive. He was telling that person that she has many wants, and that means sometimes excessively, pushy or strong-willed. And that was the only person who was a little bit strong-willed in that respect. Everyone else is finding themselves. I have found myself deeply through Arithmosophy. I have realized that number 5, I'm number 5, I'm here to take responsibility for my actions. That is what number 5 is. Because number 5 makes a lot of mistakes, travels, changes, etc. And then when you mature, you have to take responsibility for your actions. And then, of course, what we need to know, what we can know about ourselves, is that after we have learned all that, which is in essence about our incarnated soul, about who we are, here in incarnation, we come to know that there is a way to know our soul's will, which is through the labors of Hercules. You see, everything, astrology, numerology, mythology, everything has been created in times that you cannot, thousands and thousands and more. Very, very, very a long time ago, much, much earlier than we think. Much before historians attribute the start of civilization. Everything has been named for a reason. Everything has been placed there for a reason. And have you noticed how now they name stars after a number or some letters? And it used to be the Big Bear and the Pleiades, etc. But the people who named the Pleiades and the Big Bear, etc., they knew mythology and they knew astronomy. And, how do we know that? We have some evidence also that in ancient times before Greece, the labors of Hercules were existed. You know why? Because the labors of Hercules show us the path of the soul. And they show us in reality our mission, what we are here to do. And what we are here to do may be a very simple task. For example, if you're a Capricorn, a Sagittarius, let's say, a Sagittarius. If you're a Sagittarius, you're here to control your mind. To control your mind and to control speech. To control silence. To control speech on every level. To control gossip, not to gossip. And to learn how to use speech in order to benefit others. And to go straight to the goal, for example. This is what you're here for. Whatever you do to attain that, the soul doesn't really care. The soul, it's not like we have this destiny that is fixed. No, we are here to attain certain things. For example, a Gemini. A Gemini is here to learn that we are two. We are the higher soul and we are the lower self. And once, this is not the Gemini, but this is not our sun sign, but our ascendant. It is through our ascendant that we can see what is our mission in this life. Okay? So, if we are Gemini, for example, that's what we're here to know. And we start a battle with the lower self, and we unite with the higher soul, and we start to acknowledge the duality within us, the duality, because not everyone knows that we are two. We are not two like schizophrenics, but we are two. All of us, all humanity. We have the higher soul awareness, and we are the lower self. We are the incarnated soul. So we need to become aware of that, and we need to be able to discern between choices made by the subconscious mind that has not yet been brought to the light and become aware, and between the conscious higher self. So we really need to know that. So if we know our labor, we can just For example, Cancer. Now we're entering, this is the full moon in Cancer. Why do pranic healers say that it's that we use the solar month's name, sign, to characterize the full moon, because it is the sun that gives the energy to the moon. And when we meditate and bless the earth, not to the moon like lunatics, so like moon-stricken, but because there's extra energy, extra light, we take advantage of that, and we bless the earth with more peace, with more love, etc. There's so much fear and ignorance in the world that it is a pity, So many people are afraid of the best things that exist. It is because some dark forces, in order to keep the, power they have, indeed, kept people in the dark. Anyway, if we want to know ourselves, then after we know ourselves deeply and we understand ourselves and we understand what we are here to do, we can decide to make major changes and to heal our lives on every level. We can decide to find something to do that we love doing. Who said we need to make money in the hard way? I knew someone who used to say, making money means that you're doing something you don't like and you're working hard to make money, that's what he thought. If you like smelling the roses, you can cultivate roses and make money out of rose oil. You know how expensive that is? We have to find that which opens our heart. And that's why we're going to have on the third day of the live launch a wonderful visualization. And I invite all of you to participate in this, because even if you do it every day, it's not enough. It's wonderful. I try to do this as often as I can. And we're going to do something that will show us what our heart opens to, what opens our heart. So first we need to know ourselves. In Delphi, in the Apollo temple, there was an inscription, know thyself. And then on the other side, there was the all in moderation. And in the middle, above all, epsilon. Epsilon and I means to wish, to pray, invocation. So in the middle was invocation, prayer, which is the love aspect. The knowledge, the know yourself, was the light aspect. That's the Trinity. And the all in moderation is the will aspect, right? The willpower aspect, which is you. All in moderation. Don't go into excess. You have to have the strong will. Our willpower is something that we can cultivate. It's something that is like a muscle. We have a spiritual muscle. We don't need, it's easier to grow our spiritual muscle to make it strong than to do weights for our physical muscles. You know why? Because our spiritual muscle grows every time we make a small decision and we keep it. Every time, even if it's a small decision, like, I'm not going to have a third piece of chocolate. And, okay, you do it. You say, no, I will. Then you shrink your willpower. If you say, I want, and you do it, then you make it stronger. It's very simple. So it's good to declare things you can do all the time. You say, I can resist this, I'm not doing this. And this is making you stronger and stronger. So, it is very important to have strong willpower, because once we do, then we are the ones holding the wheel of our lives. We are the ones holding the reins of our horse, the horses of the powers, of our lives. No one else. We can really go in the direction that we want. Not society, not our family, not our friends. You can always find friends if you just, if you're surrounded by people who are really in the dark and they have bad habits that are dragging you down, just don't call them for a while. Let them be and do something elevated. Just meditate, take walks, exercise, and then they will drift away from you. you know. It's that simple. When you change your vibration, once you change yourself, everything will change around you. Your entire life will change. You're going to be, you're going to be attracting new people. You're going to be attracting amazing things in your life. You're going to be attracting prosperity, love, whatever your heart desires. So if you want to change your life, to make major life changes, you can do it. You can. I have one student that I'm not going to expose, but I'm very discreet. She lost 8 kilos just by our program, she didn't go on a particular diet. She just lost 8 kilos because her body changed, her aura changed, and she was attracted to new eating habits. She was attracted to, she wanted to change herself, and she did it. And she looks like a model now, So we can change ourselves. We can really do a lot about ourselves. And then, of course, there will be days when we'll be low a little bit, and then again we'll have to make a little effort. But there comes a time when we look back and we look at the depression and the anxiety and the irritability that we had, and it looks like it belonged to another person. We can really overcome permanently all those problems. And the opposite of serenity is agitation. I wanted to tell you this also. Agitation, irritability is the door to all anger, hatred, envy, jealousy, all the negative emotions. Don't give in to being irritable. Irritability is a very, very bad habit. We can always, why? Another opposite is disruption to serenity, because we do not allow to be disrupted by anything. If we just allow life to flow and something happens that changes our plans and we accept it instead of complaining, then, it will change. It will become sweeter, easier than when we're graceful toward karma or toward circumstances. Circumstances go because we have learned the lesson. And then after a while, there was a time when I was making plans and all my plans were changing. I could never plan. I had plans and whatever I wrote, just something else happened. And then I was like, oh my God, I cannot plan anything. And this came and this happened. Then after some time, I realized that I'm not going to plan, but I'm going to allow the calibration, the recalibration of my life through the Lords of Karma, through the angels of healing, through life itself. And I allowed for everything. I addressed everything that happened with as much grace as I could muster. And then, slowly, I got in alignment, and then I could plan. And now, I'm sometimes saying, oh my God, I plan everything. It would be nice to have some surprise. No, I'm not saying that. I have a lot of surprise. I just came back from a lovely vacation. So, but I mean, we can plan. We can hold the reins of our lives. We can do it. Just leave all this desire for control and everything that we know. We have to empty our cup. And what does that mean, to empty our cup? To empty our cup means we need to be students. It is so rejuvenating to be a student. I'm going to be a student until the end of my life. Today I was listening to these beautiful talks by a Buddhist monk. Wonderful. I don't know his name. Wonderful. I have to find out because he's amazing. And he was, saying more or less what I'm saying, because in reality pranic healing and all the peaceful ideologies and religions are related. And, so we have to know who we are. And to know that, we have to let go of what we know. Let go of our ego, of what we know, of what we want to do, of what we think we need to do. We need to be happy. That's what we need to do. We're going to be happier. If we are happier, we can help more people, for sure. We need to be happier. We need to have a healthy life. We need to do less things. We need to live this life. Jesus doesn't want us to sacrifice everything for him. He wants us to be happy, you know. He doesn't want every person to be sacrificing themselves for someone else. It would be a dark planet. If you're happy, you have excess of energy, you have excess of inspiration, ideas, resources. Money comes to you easily. People come to you. And then you can share, you can help, you can give, you can write a book, you can write a poem, you can sing, you can walk in the street and make everyone happier. You know, just be happy just by being there. So we need to change our lives. If we're not in that state, we need to change our lives. And we can make major decisions in 3 ways. One is to know ourselves, which means deeply let go of what we know and discover ourselves. 2, we need to heal our energy body. We need to change our habits. We need to heal the body, the aura. We will talk about this tomorrow. And 3, we need to strengthen our willpower. And because we are not masochists, we don't want to suffer, and we don't want to make excessive effort, we are going to do it the easy way, the happy way. And I will show you this to you on Saturday. The happy way is not by fighting against our problems and our negativities, but it is through creating positive thought forms that are going to give us what we want. So that was today's live launch. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I know 1 or 2 who didn't learn so much because they're part of my program. So if you want to check out Liberation and Healing, or just that's my program that I'm running now. And also you can look at my website, which is www.evitamyriam.com. So we'll see you tomorrow at the same time.